The shipping bulletin is on the way, and since our short work was nice and short, I'm happy to tell you I can play Sailing By in full tonight. It was composed by Ronald Binge in 1963, and our version is 2 minutes and 36 seconds long. Enjoy it. It's 12 minutes to 1. This is BBC Radio 4. Now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 0015 on Sunday the 18th of June. The general synopsis at 1800. High Lundy 1027, dissipating. Low northeast of Iceland 992, slow moving with little change. The area forecast for the next 24 hours. Viking north Utsira. Southwesterly 4 or 5, becoming variable 3 or 4 in south. Occasional rain, moderate or good. South Utsira. Southwesterly, becoming variable 3 or 4. Occasional drizzle, moderate or good, occasionally poor later. Forties Cromarty. Southwest 4 or 5, becoming variable 3 or 4 later. Occasional drizzle later. Moderate or good, occasionally poor later. Forth. Southwest 4 or 5, becoming variable 3 or 4. Fair. Good, occasionally moderate. Tyne Dogger. Southwest, becoming variable 3 or 4. Fair. Good, occasionally moderate. Fisher. Southwest 3 or 4, occasionally 5 at first. Mainly fair. Moderate or good, occasionally poor. German Bight. Southwest, becoming variable later 3 or 4. Mainly fair. Moderate or good, occasionally poor. Humber Thames. Variable 3 or 4. Fair. Moderate or good. Dover White. Variable 3 or 4, becoming east or northeast 4 or 5 later. Fair. Moderate or good. Portland Plymouth. Variable 3 or 4, becoming east or northeast 4 or 5 later. Fair. Good, occasionally moderate. Biscay. Northeasterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 at first in southwest. Fair, good. Trafalgar, northerly or northeasterly 4 or 5, becoming variable 3 or 4 later, but easterly 5 to 7 near Strait of Gibraltar. Mainly fair, good, occasionally poor. Fitzroy, northeasterly, veering easterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 at first, becoming variable 3 or 4 in south. Mainly fair, good, occasionally poor in south. Seoul, east 3 or 4, fair, good. Lundy Fastnet, variable 3 or 4, mainly fair, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Irish Sea, south becoming variable 3 or 4, mainly fair, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Shannon, south becoming variable later 3 or 4, occasional drizzle in northwest, good, occasionally poor. Rockall, Malin, southwest 4 or 5, occasionally 6 at first, becoming variable 3 or 4 later. Occasional rain, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Hebrides, Bailey, Fair Isle, southwest 5 or 6, occasionally 7 at first. Occasional rain or showers, good, occasionally poor in South Hebrides and South Fair Isle. Faroes, southeast Iceland, southwesterly 5 to 7, showers, good. Now on to the weather reports from coastal stations for 2300. Tyree Automatic. Southwest by west 5, recent rain, 1.5 miles, 1021, rising slowly. Stornoway, southwest by west 4, 13 miles, 1017, rising more slowly. Lerwick, southwest by west 6, mist, 4 miles, 1015, rising slowly. Wick Automatic, west-southwest 3, 27 miles, 1018, rising slowly. Aberdeen, southwest by west 3, 27 miles, 1019, rising slowly. Lookers, west-southwest 3, 15 miles, 1021, rising slowly. Boomer, southeast 2, 16 miles, 1023, rising slowly. Bridlington, west-northwest 2, 1024, rising slowly. Sandetti Light Vessel Automatic, southwest 3, 11 miles, 1026, rising slowly. Greenwich Light Vessel Automatic, northwest 2, 11 miles, 1026, now rising. St Catherine's Point Automatic, northwest by west 2, 1026, now rising. Jersey, northeast 3, 32 miles, 1025, falling slowly. Channel Light Vessel Automatic, northeast 3, 11 miles, 1026, falling slowly. Scilly Automatic, northeast 3, 24 miles, 1026, falling slowly. Milford Haven, west 1, 19 miles, 1027, rising slowly. Aberporth, southwest 2, 24 miles, 1026, rising slowly. Valley, south-southeast 4, 9 miles, 1025, rising slowly. Liverpool Crosby, northeast 2, 14 miles, 1025, rising slowly. Valencia, south 2, 15 miles, 1026, rising slowly. Ronaldsway, southeast by east 1, 7 miles, 1025, rising slowly. Malin Head, southwest 4, 16 miles, 1022, rising more slowly. Machrihanish Automatic, northwest 1, 9 miles, 1023, rising slowly. Now here's the weather forecast for the inshore waters of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, valid for the following 24 hours and issued by the Met Office at 2300. The general situation. High pressure will bring very warm and settled weather with light winds to most parts over the next couple of days. The only exception being the far northwest, where breezier and at times damp weather will prevail. Cape Wrath to Rattray Head, including Orkney. Southwesterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 in far northwest, becoming variable 2 or 3 later in south. Occasional rain, good, occasionally moderate. Rattray Head to Berwick upon Tweed, south or southwest 4 or 5, becoming variable 2 or 3 later. Occasional rain later in north, good, occasionally moderate later. Berwick upon Tweed to Whitby, southwest 3 or 4, becoming variable 2 or 3, occasionally 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate later. Whitby to Gibraltar Point, variable 2 or 3, occasionally 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate. Gibraltar Point to North Foreland, variable 2 or 3, occasionally 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate. North Foreland to Selsey Bill, variable 2 or 3, becoming easterly or northeasterly 3 or 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate. Selsey Bill to Lyme Regis, variable 2 or 3, occasionally 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate. Lyme Regis to Land's End, including the Isles of Scilly. Variable 2 or 3, becoming east or northeast 3 or 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate. Land's End to St David's Head, including the Bristol Channel. Variable 2 or 3, occasionally 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate. St David's Head to Great Orme Head, including St George's Channel. South or southwest 3 or 4, becoming variable 2 or 3, occasionally 4 later. Fair, good, occasionally moderate. Great Orme Head to the Mull of Galloway. Variable 3 or 4, mainly fair. Moderate or good, occasionally poor. Isle of Man, southwest 3 or 4, becoming variable 2 or 3 later. Mainly fair, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Lough Foyle to Carlingford Lough. Variable 3 or 4. Occasional drizzle later. Moderate or good, occasionally poor later. Mull of Galloway to Mull of Kintyre, including the Firth of Clyde and the North Channel. Variable 3 or 4. Occasional drizzle later. Moderate or good, occasionally poor later. Mull of Kintyre to Ardnamurchan Point. Southwest 4 or 5 at first in north, otherwise variable 3 or 4. Occasional rain or drizzle, moderate or good, occasionally poor. Ardnamurchan Point to Cape Wrath. Southwesterly 4 or 5, occasionally 6 in north, becoming variable 2 or 3 later in south. Occasional rain, moderate or good, occasionally poor in south. And Shetland Isles. Southwest 5 or 6, occasionally 4 later. Showers, good. And that completes the shipping bulletin here on BBC Radio 4. It's almost the end of Saturday night. The BBC World Service will be taking over in a few moments, right through the night until 5:20, when we'll be back with the latest shipping bulletin and news briefing at 5:30. There's drama over on Radio 4 Extra now. An estranged father and daughter go on a road trip to Moscow in the pickup. And then the epic star Betty Davis is interviewed about her Hollywood life in Frankly Speaking. The programme comes from 1963 and you can hear it on Radio 4 Extra at 1:30. I do hope you can join us here on Radio 4 at some point during Sunday. But for now, this is Kathy Clugston in London, wishing you a very peaceful night wherever you're listening. Good night.